Hello everybody and welcome back to Pravus Gaming and more Democracy 3 Presidential Suite, playing as Russia, trying to get to some sort of communism, but man, they are resisting me at every turn. I can't say that I appreciate that at all. Where's the iron fist? Where's the fear-mongering? It's not working, apparently. People are just feeling emboldened and demanding civil rights and meaningless things like that, but oh well. So in the last video, I think I forgot to deal with an event. At least when I reloaded the game, this came back up, so I guess we should go ahead and deal with this. Opposing scientist. A famous scientist popular among environmentalists and liberals, oh gosh dang liberals, tours the country to campaign against pollution and civil rights abuse. Our security service has a chance to frame her for some misdemeanors and ruin her political career. If we let her go, her voter groups will grow in numbers. Well, I mean, let's see, this is a democracy. We shouldn't think of using force against our rivals. Of course we should. What do you think you're talking to? No. We're not going to appease them. We're going to reduce their numbers. We're going to jail her up. Liberals and environmentalists are threatening national security and must be suppressed by any means. Find some dirt on her and create a deterring example. You can hear your jail door slamming in the background. I don't know if you can hear that, but yeah. Alright, so, so the problem we've been having lately is that liberalism membership just keeps going up and up and up and up. A lot of that has to do with this whole independent head of state thing, which I really don't think ought to affect liberalism membership like this. I really don't. I mean, I could switch it to being an absolute monarchy, and that would certainly solve the problem. It's pretty expensive to do that, though. Creates a bit of corruption, reduces equality and stuff like that, reduces foreign relations, blah, 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 blah. I'm not sure I like any of the penalties of this, but I don't like where it is right now. I'm not sure if it's something we're going to do today. Probably not, but in the future I may just want to cancel that entirely. But one of the other big drivers of the liberalism membership is police brutality, of course, because, you know, we've armed them all, we let them detain people for a month without any sort of jury. They've all got tasers, don't tase me bro, stuff like that. I don't know, it's just causing a lot of issues. And even though it kind of fits with the playthrough, the problem is it's creating a bunch of liberals who are causing massive protests that are slowing down the economy and stuff like that. It's just not good. It's just not good, and their numbers are growing. I expect it to get up to like 70–80% in the next few years if we do nothing about it. So we're going to have to do something. And I think one of the best things we can do is try to reduce the police brutality. Because right now, we have very little crime. So if I reduce things like, I don't know, let's say armed police and stuff like that, that will help at the very least. And it doesn't do a lot for us because, well, we don't need to reduce crime that much more. I mean, I liked the idea of being a tyrant, I really did, but until the people are willing to accept communism, I think that we just have to play it a little bit safe and not go quite so fast, not quite so hard. Opposing business leader. A business leader popular among capitalists and the wealthy tours the country to run against you in the next election. Our security service has a chance to frame her for some misdemeanors. It's another woman, okay. Dominika Bereshnikov. This is a fair democracy. So it's the same thing as last time, except instead of liberals and environmentalists, it's capitalists and the wealthy. Well, big corporations and capitalists have been exploiting our people for years, and they must be stopped by any means. Find some dirt on her, and create another deterring example. The power! Sorry. Anyway, yeah, so, gotta find some good ways to reduce this. Our education is also quite low. I'm kind of worried that, I don't know if increasing education increases liberalism membership, or increasing education appeases the liberals so they don't feel like they need to fight over, education as a human right sort of a thing. I'm not sure which one it's going to be. I suspect the higher it gets, the more liberals it creates, just sort of based on the tenor of the game, but oh well, that's kind of what we're going to have to work with. Anyway, so we're going to do some gradual changes to try and reduce the police brutality, and we are going to be trying to gradually increase the economy, improve our technology and stuff like that, make us a little bit stronger, try to reduce things like the skills shortage and stuff like that. Oh, sexism. You know, I actually did see an event. I did see an event not too long ago, or sorry, not an event. Gosh, what am I talking about? Comment! There we go. Comment in the last video, suggesting that one of the ways I can try to get rid of the liberalism membership is to go for the married tax allowance. And that is absolutely correct. You could totally do that. It reduces liberalism membership and it makes conservatives happy, religious people happy, stuff like that. It's basically trying to keep married people together, usually for somewhat religious reasons, blah, blah, blah. The only problem with doing this is it greatly increases sexism. Greatly. That's just surprising. Now that I think about it, we could do it anyway, because that reduces liberalism membership too. Oh, that's an interesting thought. I actually had some plans on things to do, but now I'm kind of wondering if I want to do something else. Well, it is expensive, so tell you what. If after the next election we're still having a lot of trouble with liberalism membership, we'll come back to it. But for now, we'll put that aside. But it certainly is a backup option if I have to. It's just going to cost me a few more billion rubles that I don't really have. Anyway, let's go to the armed police. That is an obvious example of something we could reduce to try and fix up the liberalism membership a little bit. Let's go lower than that. Let's go to about, like, oh, I don't know, about here. About 865 million rubles. This will save me a couple billion. It also increases crime slightly. But police brutality will go down by about 18% or so, which is pretty good. And it's not going to hurt me in too many other ways. It also makes liberals ever so slightly happier, so we'll do that. We're obviously not canceling the policy. It is entirely possible we'll want to raise it back up later. But for now, that alone should reduce one of the biggest drivers of the police brutality. Hopefully make some sort of a difference. Now I want to make some sort of economic investment. What would be good here? Something we do need to do at some point. I know people are talking about planned economy. It has the hammer and sickle and everything. Yeah, that's definitely something we want to do eventually. It's just, it does create a lot of other issues too. I happen to know that the planned economy policy eliminates unemployment in the country almost entirely, which just guarantees that the labor shortage will always be an issue. In fact, I'm not even sure how to avoid that. If you go for planned economy, I feel like you're always going to have a labor shortage, and maybe that's sort of the point. I'm not too sure, but that's something we'll go to eventually, but not until we've won the hearts and minds of everybody involved. Let's go over some tech grants. This one's pretty good. It does cost a few billion, but greatly improves technology, does reduce unemployment, which actually is not good for us right now, but it's okay. Improves technology, improves productivity. Both of those are going to be good for the GDP, which hopefully will try to get me some more money, so I can work myself at least a little bit out of this debt. But to be honest, I'm not sure we're ever going to get out of this debt. This debt may be kind of inevitable. If we can't raise up the GDP, it's not going to matter. It really isn't. And productivity is right now, by a long shot, our biggest drag on the economy. I need to find some creative ways to deal with that, but let's move on into the next turn. Oh, the googie. Okay, so there goes the aerospace industry. That's going to hurt the GDP a fair bit. Surveillance scandal. A police chief has used surveillance data for shady purposes without the proper warrant. Gosh dang it! Huge liberalism membership increase. Huge! Activists have started to sabotage CCTV cameras. Is this an event that you only get if you have maxed out CCTV? If that's the case, it actually means that CCTV cameras are not as good as we thought. That's unfortunate. We do now have a financial sector, apparently, and I still only have 42% of the vote, though. Oh, lordy, this has proven a little bit more difficult than I think I was expecting it to be. This modpack, man, I'm so stuck in the base mentality of Democracy 3. Find a few good policies and max them out. Do that in the right order and you'll make a crap ton of money and you'll be good to go. But no. No, it turns out doing things like anything that reduces unemployment, for example, just creates new problems and stuff like that. Skill shortage is still going down a little bit. I'm not sure it's going to go down to 0, unfortunately. We may have to increase our technology a fair bit. Here's one thing I don't understand. Why is it that every time I get something like, let's say, technology grants in this case, it always dips down first and then it spikes back up later? That is so irritating. Alright, so we're gonna have to reduce some more stuff for the, oh my god, 75%. Oh no, that police chief's an idiot. He screwed me horribly. Oh no. Okay, we're gonna reduce the detention without trial. This will reduce the civil rights protests quite a bit and police brutality and make liberals a little bit happier. It's gonna cost me a fair bit of political capital, but I'm not getting rid of it, even though that's cheaper, because there may very well come a point when I decide that I want to bring this back. But again, not until I've won the hearts and minds of everybody. Trade unionists are actually a pretty substantial part of the vote right now. They are 65%, and they are incredibly unhappy about the work visas program that I established. Also labor laws, which unfortunately I can't change right now because I need the productivity. Although that is something we'll have to do eventually, probably. But yeah, we need to find a way to make them a little bit happier, because right now, this is actually huge. The mining disaster. Oh, that thing. Yeah, that's bad. Here's the other issue, though. I've got 3 ministers who are sympathetic to them, and as long as they're unhappy, that's going to end up costing me a lot in political capital. So we're probably going to have to pass something to make them happier. Public services? Law and order? I don't know what I want to do here. Work safety laws would make them happy, right? I think so. Yeah, sure. This actually will also try to help reduce the veteran infirmity event, I think. Yes, there it goes. Okay. So we don't want to max this out, I think, because even though it makes trade unionists happy, it does greatly reduce their... Ah! I clicked off of it! No! How'd that happen? Okay. I'm going to reload the game real quick. Hang on, because that was not supposed to happen. Okay, we'll try that one again. So, work safety law, like I was saying. Don't want to be maxed out right now. I know it makes trade unions happy, but it greatly reduces their membership. But one of the big downsides is it greatly reduces productivity, and this is the big thing that's killing me right now. If I can't find ways to get this productivity back up, well, I feel like we're going to be in a lot of trouble. So I can bring it up to, let's say, about here, about 80 million rubles. It does reduce productivity by about 3.8%. Okay, that sucks. But it also does increase health a little bit. It makes the trade unionists pretty happy, another 11% or so. That's going to be good for winning elections in the future. It also reduces veteran infirmity by about 10%. All in all, this is something we probably have to do, and it seems thematically appropriate. I just wish that it didn't have as many downsides associated with it, but okay, let's move on. Now, one downside of me reloading the game is, for whatever reason, I did not get the financial sector event right now, which means that my GDP is actually a little bit weaker. There it is. All right, it is back. Uh-oh. Yegor Andropov. He is sympathetic to socialists and trade unionists, and he's not happy right now. Well, hopefully the trade unionists will be a little bit happier pretty soon, so please don't quit. I'm kind of surprised that socialist trade unionists guy is the one we have to be worried about. There were other guys, there were other advisors that I have that I was far more worried about, but this one, no. Income-based fines. Make them based on income or make them independent of income. I say, well, let's see. A housekeeper might need to work for a week to earn the hourly wage of a CEO, so fines for rich people need to be much higher to hit them as hard as the poor. Well, that sounds appropriate for us. As far as like the legality of this and all, I've heard a few arguments about this. On one hand, I think that the fair, equal, blind, thing for the law to do is to be blind to anything that might make you discriminate, whether that be race or gender, or even wealth. And just treat everyone exactly the same, so you have independent fines. On the other hand, I have heard arguments that some things, like, for example, traffic fines, the person who's poor is driving around their car, and if they speed, for example, and they get that ticket, they're completely screwed, whereas a rich person's just like, meh, so he's more able to ignore the law than anyone else otherwise would be. So I've heard that kind of an argument. For our playthrough, though, we're definitely going to go for fines based on income, which I imagine is going to upset the wealthy even further. Not that it matters too much, though. Heck, let's look at their earnings and see what they produce for the economy. Nothing! The high-earning people pay nothing to the economy. It increases air travel, car usage, reduces corruption, and technology. That's it, because it's so low. Wait, how is air travel going up? You'd think that these would actually be pretty low if there are less rich people flying and driving. Technology I get, because there are less rich people buying tech. Huh. Well, anyway, we did that. So, moving on. Police brutality. How are we looking? Okay, it's on its way down a fair bit. We've made some pretty big progress. The next thing to do would probably... Well, intelligence services, but I kind of like those. Those are helpful. What about tasers? Do we have any use for tasers? Not really. It greatly reduces violent crime, though. What if we just reduce it? We could reduce it a fair bit. I know canceling it would make the liberals happier. However, if it was going to reduce the police brutality and the... actually increasing this reduces civil rights protests. Oh, that's interesting. We could make it ubiquitous. That's a good word. Yeah, no, obviously, I'm more concerned about police brutality than civil rights protests. Honestly, fix some of the liberal issues, and the civil rights protests go away on their own. Yeah, we're just going to reduce this down to 0 rather than cancel it. I know it'll make liberals still unhappy, but I don't want to quite increase my crime that much. That might be a little excessive. And frankly, the higher our crime is, the more people have private security, and guess what? That is also contributing to police brutality. So, something that we ought to consider. Liberalism membership is down to 50%. Okay, so it's improving a little bit. Jailing that scientist went a long way to get rid of a lot of these liberals. That's excellent. And wait, did we not get the I didn't get the police chief event by reloading the game. Well, that's convenient. Okay. We can reduce this further though. If we go to something like, let's say, where are you? I know we have it. There it is, gated communities. This will do a job. Yes. Now, of course, it increases private security, which is not so good for the police brutality I was just telling you guys about, but it greatly reduces liberalism membership. By maxing it out, we get another 4% or so less liberals. It does increase corruption, ghettos, and stuff like that, but civil rights protests go down quite a bit, too. Don't know why. Presumably by segregating people better. They feel like, I guess they're less aware of what's going on around them, and they just feel less like they have to protest or something. I don't know. Liberals don't like it, equality goes down, but we've done a lot to increase equality. I think we'll be okay there. Tourism goes up, car usage goes up, private housing. Don't care about some of these things, but I don't like the ghettos thing either. This honestly isn't that good of a policy, but reducing civil rights protests is nice, and more importantly, reducing liberalism membership is quite nice. So we're going to go ahead and do that anyway. Alright, so if that guy is considering quitting, if he does quit, he's down to 1. This is bad. If he does quit, we're in big trouble. So what we probably want to do then is find a way to make the unionists happy. Now, what's a good way to make them happy? I'm not changing the work visas because we still need to get rid of the labor shortage and the skill shortage in some way. I can't change the labor laws right now. That's too expensive, and I can't afford to reduce my productivity right now, though that's something we will have to do. What if we did some tax incentives for unions? Meat tax. A meat tax? Really? Okay. The mail tax. I saw a comment about this the other day. Oh yeah, that's in here. That's in the mod pack. The mail tax. Controversial idea. You think so? Oh man. What else we got though? There it is. Government subsidies for unions. Okay, now this is a little bit pricey, but not too bad. It's going to make the trade unionists very happy. Socialism membership goes up, trade unionist membership goes up, and wages goes up. Now, I don't think we want to go quite that high. That might be a little bit too much money. And I don't want to increase wages a ridiculous amount, but we could at least get to like 500 million, a half a billion rubles. That's not so bad. Increases my socialism membership by another 5%, which is working out very well for me. And make the trade unionists happy, because they are a pretty substantial voter demographic. So that's not so bad. And honestly, the more socialists we have right now, the better, and the less capitalists we have, the better. So yeah, we'll go ahead and stick with that for the time being. Alright, moving on to the next turn. What else do we have? Civil rights on trial. Oh, well, this sounds like a great opportunity to oppress the people. A civil rights organization has sued the government for excessive surveillance and police brutality. Okay, I'm trying to fix that. If you have some better solutions, let me know. The court will probably restrict these methods. We can pressure the judges to clear us of charges. That would increase corruption and damage our foreign relations. We could let the court rule. Separation of powers and rule of law are cornerstones of democracy. We need to respect the Constitution and the judiciary. Or manipulate the courts. Liberal judges and juries pave the way for criminals and terrorists. We can find replacements who are more loyal. That sounds like the sort of thing we're supposed to do, right? It's not good, but it sounds like something we're supposed to do. Alright, let's manipulate the courts. Sure, why not? Deficit's not as bad as it used to be. That's good, I guess. Hey, 54% of the vote! We're starting to get somewhere, and we also have terrorists starting to become a thing. Oh, that's going to be fun. Just you wait, environmentalists. I promise, if I could just get some money, I would invest in things that you want. I do promise you that. But no. No. So as far as police brutality is concerned, one thing we could do to reduce this would be to pass community policing. It would do a lot, I suspect, to greatly reduce police brutality. Here's the only problem with that, is it directly increases liberalism membership. Now, is it worth it? Is it worth getting a small amount of community policing, right, which increases liberalism membership by, let's say, 3%, in order to get rid of police brutality and save ourselves 13%? I don't know. I haven't done the math on that. I guess I could check, but that's something we'd have to look into. But it also would increase our local government, and I think that also increases liberalism membership. So it may have a double whammy effect. I'm not sure about the math. That certainly would be something we could do. On the other hand, I know from, oops, let's see right here. Jury trials. Jury trials is something that we could do that would greatly help. In fact, we have very little jury trials, exceptional cases only. If we increase this, state employees would not be happy, crime would go up slightly, corruption would go down though, liberals would be happier, and police brutality would go down by another 11% or so. That's not bad, and I guess we could kind of make it work thematically. I know that it doesn't sound like we want to have a good, proper judiciary. We're trying to go for the USSR specifically. Not like, you know, the proper utopian version of communism, but like what actually happened, like, historically. We're trying to go more toward that, so you might think jury trials don't work. And I suppose in a way that they kind of don't, but instead, I'm going to go ahead and justify this as a collective judgment. You will stand before the collective, the people, the proletariats, and you will be judged by your peers. The workers shall decide what to do with you. Or something like that. I don't know, that may be BSing it a little bit, but it will help. It will help quite a bit. Alright, we're about to end up this video, but we haven't done anything really cool and unique. We've been mostly doing damage control for the last, I don't know, 15 minutes or so, last few years. Or quarters, I should say. I think I know what I'm going to do. This one's going to be kind of new. Alright, let's do something new. I know what I want to do. Here we go. Let's find it. Where are you? Not planned economy. We'll come back to that later. That would be kind of like one of the big marks of like the end of the series when we've like proven we've got a proper communist government. There it is. State industrial investment. Now this is going to be expensive, but we are going to have state ownership of the means of production. So this is like a big socialist thing as opposed to communist. What we'll do eventually is we'll kind of say the state now owns it and now the people shall run the state, and that's communism, quote unquote. Realistically though, in the USSR, I mean, I wouldn't really say that they were properly communist in the idea of the workers owning the means of production as much as the state did on their behalf. That's how I would more or less describe the USSR. So historically, this kind of goes along the right route. But we're going to have state industrial investment quite a bit. Governments may invest in plumbing or electricity supply networks and are perceived to be natural monopolies. The state might also own capital-intensive industries to create or uphold a strong economy during recession. Trade unions encourage state investment to reduce unemployment. Now, this is going to hurt my unemployment thing a lot, which makes the labor shortage worse. But let's suppose that we max this out. Look at the productivity boost. It's going to take a long time for it to take full effect. But oh my god, 25%? That's so good! That will help our GDP a ton over a long time. It also greatly reduces high earnings because nobody owns the means of production, so there are no wealthy business owners. None whatsoever. So we basically get rid of all the rich people in our country. That's what's going to happen. International trade goes down slightly because we're not going to be importing as much. Capitalists are furious, but socialists and trade unionists like it. Self-employed membership goes down, which is good, because I don't expect anyone to be self-employed in this country. You know? Everyone, either the state shall own the means of production, or the workers shall own the means of production, but no one person shall own a business and employ people. That's just... That's of the bourgeois. Now, instead we'll have state employees, a ton of them. And this also goes a long way to prop up our process industry and industrial automation. I have no idea if this also would technically improve, let's say, the automotive industry or the aerospace industry if we still had them, but now that they're gone, I can't really check. Either way, this seems like something appropriate for the series. It's going to be very expensive, unfortunately. But with that productivity boost, it might eventually pay for itself by greatly improving the GDP over a long period of time. This basically means for the next 20 turns, I can expect the GDP to kind of reliably keep going up, unless I do something else to mess with it. Mostly, though, I need that productivity going up. I really need that productivity. So that will certainly help. And industrial automation will actually do the same thing, too. Industrial automation will increase unemployment, which will help a little bit with the labor shortage, make people more effective, more productive per person. Productivity goes up, and the working week goes up effectively. So kind of a good double whammy across the board there. I think that's going to work for us. At least I certainly hope it will. But I'm going to go ahead and end this video here. Thank you all very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. Sorry about the slip up with the misclick and having to reload. Hope some people don't think that's too cheaty, but it had to happen. Dang it, I think it did. Anyway, yeah, I'll see you all next time. Be sure to hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. Bye-bye.